this first story here, I wanted us to spend a few minutes, not even really opining on the uh, a second assassination attempt on former President Trump yesterday, but I just wanted to survey what some of the information that was out there. And I've gone through some of the major media outlets, and if they're not behind paywalls, some of the information isn't great. And so what I actually found was an article here from that's premature, an article here from the Independent, and I don't really read the Independent all like that, but I thought they did a good job of sort of giving some good details on what actually has happened. So this article here comes from the Independent. They say Ryan Ruth, what we know about the Trump shooting suspect caught with an AK-47 and a GoPro. Oh man. So a suspected gunman is now in custody after Secret Service agents foiled what appears to have been a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump in just the space of 2 months. Ryan Wesley Ruth, 58 years old, was identified by federal officials as the suspect, who was allegedly armed with a powerful AK-47 style assault rifle. That's funny. And aimed it through the bushes at Trump National Golf Club in West Palm Beach when the former president was playing a round of golf on Sunday. The suspect was around 300 to 500 yards away from Trump at the time. West Palm Beach Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said in a press conference around 1 p.m. that Secret Service agents spotted the butt of the gun through the fence and fired shots toward the suspect. It is not clear whether the accused gunman fired any shots. Ruth allegedly fled the scene, with a witness taking photo and noting the license plate of his black SUV. Officers from the Martin County Sheriff's Office in Florida, based near Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, tracked down the vehicle on I-95 and captured the suspect. He has been taken into custody and is being held at the local county jail. The motive of the alleged attacks remain unclear, but the FBI is treating it as an attempted assassination, the Bureau said in a statement. Lastly, when he fled, Ralph allegedly left several items behind at the golf club: an AK-47 with a scope, 2 backpacks with ceramic tile inside, a GoPro video camera, which he allegedly intended to use to film the incident. While details about what exactly happened and what may have motivated the suspect remain something of a mystery, information is emerging about Ralph. Quickly on him, he has a criminal record dating back to 2002. He was convicted on possession of a weapon of mass destruction. What? Who is this guy? First of all, like, how's my man out? His weapon of mass destruction. The weapon of mass destruction charge was brought out against Roth over a fully automatic machine gun he had. And so that's just a survey of the situation. There's more details out there about him. You can follow you can look at some of his posts, his activity. He was heavily involved in trying to get people to Ukraine and fighting and different things. Ironically enough, Facebook already scrubbed his account in just the last 24 hours. And so there's not.
I love the articles. Like, I don't know what his motive was.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty clear what his motive was. He's got a vendetta. He feels that the only way to prevent him from winning is to try to take him out. I mean, to have 2 assassination attempts on one president in an election year is pretty incredible. I mean, that's nothing that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Likewise. And that's why I bring it up, because it begs the question, well, without going into the deep ends of whatever side and different things, I think it's a fair question at this point. So basically, I had an interaction over the weekend. I was talking to a friend, and they gave me some feedback when I was talking to him, and I used the word "they" when I was talking about Trump being assassin, having the first attempt in July, and he corrected me, which I received it. He said, "You shouldn't use they. This was the person." But I did say, and I shared with him, I said, "You know what, though? Here's why I'm starting to use they, is because we're talking about now, this is after this, we're talking now 2 attempts on a former president under the watch of an apparatus, the Secret Service, that is notable for not being so pregnable. And it just so happens that this is happening. Okay, so this happens 500, 300, 500 yards on a golf course, a private golf course. The first one happened 100 yards away in a incredibly dense environment. at some point you have to say this is beyond gross negligence.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's where this is trending video that's going around that I put in the line right below in our doc.
Yes, let me pull that up. Got that.
So you remember how the first attempt there was video of the Blackstone video that showed, it was an advertisement that showed the shooter in that video. Well, supposedly this video that's floating around is another one. This one's a Ukraine video sponsored by BlackRock.
Okay.
And we'll have to compare the pictures because I want to see. This is just 8 seconds of the entire video just to get straight to the clip, but you can see this guy's face.
Is our appeal to world leaders.
Right there. Stop.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
that's him.
That's the same guy, right?
Yeah, just the same guy.
So you can scroll down a little bit into the comments, but there's the full video. And then it's talking more about just kind of his background, but this consistent link to BlackRock propaganda, we'll call it, is very concerning to me.
Yep. Yeah, and it should be. There's some details that'll come out in the last year, just how their role and involvement in this war in particular, a lot of the contracts and things they have with the Ukraine and the ties to rebuilding the nation. And
yeah, they own a lot of the government contracting businesses out there. And so they have a vested interest in that.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. They manage $10 trillion in assets. This includes publicly traded companies, single-family homes, and infrastructure assets like pipelines. But they also include, that includes companies, planes, equipment, bombs, military equipment, etc. So they have a real vested interest in the war machine.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and they're also the I wanted to use the word premier, but they're one of the foremost defense contractors for the things happening with other nations within NATO as well as they're interacting with the United States. And so you got to look at incentives, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, two for two now, right?
2 for 2 and 0 for 2 actually.
Well, I mean 2 for 2 that somehow there's a connection back to BlackRock.
Yeah.
0 for 2 on the attempts, but I mean, this is not going to stop. This doesn't. If he gets into presidency, it doesn't stop.
Correct.
It's going to keep going, which is even worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's very bad, and I won't take it here, but one of the hardest things that I'm personally wrestling with is there's a willingness to keep justifying these things and putting these things in brackets like they're spinoffs. Like, oh, this is just one person acting on their own, volition. And yes, it is.
Back to your friends saying, "Oh, don't say they."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're not taught when we say they, we're not talking about everyday citizens who are voting liberally.
Yeah.
We're talking about the machine, the political machine that the puppet masters are pulling strings up at the highest level. And the same goes for both sides. We know that.
Correct.
But the fact of the matter is they hate Trump because he can't be controlled by the machine. And that is upsetting. And we said it before, but of the last 32 years of presidential candidacy, 28 of those years have been controlled. So y'all have had your time. It's time to step down.
Step aside, man. Yeah. And so we'll move on from that, but just wanted to survey it and hey, this is what's happening out there. We have to be thinking about this.
It does impact our business and those types of things, like a president potentially getting assassinated will have a material impact on the economy.
Right.
For sure. It'll have a material impact on the stock market. We've talked about this countless times on the show, but we're coming to the end of a major economic cycle, the end of a 100-year cycle. There's a real lack of leadership. There's a real shift away from me, and more to pro-America. and that's bad for business
Yeah,
for those puppet masters.
facts.
And so that's the reality we're at.